Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. The last 4 days have been the most horrible in my life. I have no idea how to deal with anything and wanted to get opinions on what to do next, since I see posts like this on Reddit. My best friend's wife told him that she had an affair with me, which never happened. I, 35 male, have been married to my wife, 35 female, for 8 years. We have 2 wonderful kids. But this is about my friend Josh, 35 male, and his wife Mary, 34 female. I met Josh during my freshman year of college, and we've been friends ever since. We have always shared our love for tech, and he is always my go-to guy when I need someone to talk to. Josh started dating Mary 5 years ago. Let's say Mary has a very different set of morals than my wife or me. She is very loud, manipulative, and just craves attention. Josh and Mary have been dating on and off for 4 years. They broke up often, but somehow always ended up together after a few months. Mary is always the one who breaks up with Josh and then takes him back. I also know that Mary cheated on Josh at least with 2 guys when they were dating, but somehow convinced him that he was not putting enough effort into the relationship. Josh always blames himself when Mary is not happy. My wife also knows about all of this and has always kept her distance from Mary. However, we do meet her often during parties with friends. Josh and Mary got married last year. Last month, Josh found out that Mary was cheating on him again and had an affair with one of her co-workers. Josh was completely broken and stayed at our place for a week before going back and confronting Mary and kicking her out of the house. Josh bought the house before marriage, and hence, he had to get the cops involved to kick her out. From what we know, Mary moved back to her parents' house. I've been helping Josh through the process, and he filed for divorce last week. Last Sunday, Mary came to Josh's house to collect her stuff along with her dad. I had advised Josh to get out of the house when they came, but he wanted to make sure she did not take anything that did not belong to her. During her visit, Josh got into a fight with Mary, and Mary told Josh that she had an affair with me while they were married, and we used to do it in their bedroom. This is all 100% false. I've always known that Mary was trouble and kept my distance from her. I feel she's just trying to hurt Josh by saying that. After that incident, Josh got extremely agitated and came to our house. I saw he was distressed and knew something was wrong. As I opened the door, he started cursing at me and accusing me of sleeping with Mary. Luckily, the kids were not at home, but my wife and I were there, and we were both shocked by what he was saying. He tried to punch me, but luckily he hit my shoulder, and I was able to wrestle him on the ground and calm him down. I kept on telling him that what Mary told him was completely false, and that I had never spent a single minute with her alone in my life. My wife threatened to call the cops, and he left. After he left, my wife was completely inconsolable. It took me hours to calm her down and convince her that Mary was manipulating Josh. I work from home and rarely leave my house without my wife or kids. I think she believes me, but she has been different for the last 4 days. Josh told a lot of my close friends that I was having an affair with Mary. He's not taking my calls or my wife's calls. My wife tried to call Mary, but she was also not taking our calls. All my friends, including Josh, think that I am the biggest a-hole for getting involved with his ducking wife. I have no idea how to convince anyone that this is false. I'm just so frustrated. Can someone please give me advice on what I can do next? Well, I think OP needs to consult with a lawyer, because I think it might be a case to sue Mary for defamation. She's telling lies, which is doing damage to OP's life and reputation. If a lawyer thinks there is a case, I think he needs to go ahead and sue her. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Adniba says, honestly, that's ducked, dude. I struggle to understand, given the context, how your wife and friends don't believe you. But it sounds like you need to just clear the air with a simple denial that you did it. Offer to give evidence to anyone who doesn't believe you, if you have any, and that you're happy to be friends still, but won't be talking about the situation. Their choice. As for your wife, you've got to take a softer approach, of course, but still tell her she needs to either believe you, allow her to do any kind of investigating or whatever to verify if she can, or you guys need to go to counseling. No half measures, and no treating you differently because you can't prove a negative. Alana Advice says, did Mary provide any evidence? Of course not. But somehow Josh is just trusting her. He honestly sounds like a very gullible, very stupid man. So after you ask for evidence of this supposed affair, tell him the truth. That you would never have an affair with his wife because you don't like her. You sound like it in your post, and never did, and you don't understand why he married her knowing she's a cheater. Then I would go on the offensive. Tell him that you're offended that he doesn't trust you, but trusts his cheating wife, who is clearly trying to hurt him. Then do damage control with friends. You need to clear your name and show them you're pissed. Frustrated also, yes, but pissed you are being unfairly targeted by a manipulative psycho. To me, pissed equals innocent in this situation. I, 28 male, discovered that my wife Kat, 27 female, who I married 2 years ago but have been in a relationship with for 7 years, cheated on me, and that our son Lee, 5, is not biologically mine. I was given the revelation by my mother-in-law. I would otherwise never have known, because my wife and I are an interracial couple, and our child is biracial. Just turns out the affair partner and bio-father is also the same race as me. According to her, my wife confessed to her mother a year ago out of guilt. Mother-in-law wanted my wife to tell me directly, but I guess after failing to do so for a year, she took the initiative to tell me herself. I took a DNA test and have confirmed that my son is in fact not mine. I've confronted Kat, who confessed to everything. Affair partner was a regular customer from her retail job. She claims it was a one-off from a moment of weakness, and that she never loved affair partner, and that she ended things years ago. I looked up affair partner, who has a public Facebook profile, and my son's physical resemblance to him is extremely apparent. Mother-in-law has pleaded with me to stay and try to make things work. I've considered, and I just don't think I have it in me to stay in the relationship. Last week, I consulted a lawyer to initiate divorce. Where I live, it is a no-fault divorce, so Kat's infidelity is pretty irrelevant. But I do have a prenup for all my premarital assets. I inherited quite a lot from my grandfather, who passed away when I was 21. So it's mostly just the marriage assets that will be divided. I've also instructed my lawyer to attempt the process of removing my name from my son's birth certificate. Now, I'm not a monster. I love my son, but looking at him, I now can't get affair partner's face out of my mind each time I do. I will seek counseling, but there's a good chance this isn't something I can ever get over. I will not completely abandon him, though. I currently plan to set up a trust account for him with a third-party administrator, so I don't have to be personally involved. In my opinion, he's too young to understand, so I've simply told him that his mother and I have fallen out of love, which is partly true because the revelation has killed my love and affection for Kat. That said, I've written a letter which I've given to my mother-in-law to give to him when he's older, which will explain my side of the story. I've always had a good relationship with my mother-in-law and trust her judgment on when that time will be appropriate. Kat, unfortunately, is making this process difficult by telling him that she's still in love with me and wants me to stay, so I likely just look like a dad who is just leaving for no reason. So this is my dilemma. My wife is accusing me of abandoning my son because I refuse to forgive her and stay to try to make the marriage work for his sake. She's unwilling to tell affair partner about his bio son because in her mind, affair partner is not the real father, and she does not want affair partner involved in her son's life. Wife has said she's not in love with affair partner and is calling me immature for not wanting to take an active role in his upbringing anymore. What should I do in regards to my wife Kat and my non-biological son Lee? Well, first of all, OP should stop listening to her and go ahead with the divorce. The sooner the better. Who cares what she thinks? She should have thought of that before she cheated. Everything that happens is of her own making. OP is doing everything right in my opinion. He is very generous setting up a trust fund for the boy. But I also think that the real father has a right to know that he has a son, so OP needs to contact him and inform him. Do you agree with me, guys? And now let's hear the community's opinion. Creative Might says, I would continue what you're doing, but with one change. I wouldn't trust the letter to your mother-in-law. You never know what could happen. She could pass, or your soon-to-be ex-wife will find it. Give copies of your letter to a few people you trust, and your lawyer, with instructions to give to him when he's older. Alorius Dannon says, first, stick with the divorce. Once the trust is broken, you can't ever get it back. On top of the fact that not only did she destroy you, she destroyed the little boy. She's a horrible person for that. Second, with regards to the little one, this is a tough one. You've raised him for 5 years. Feelings, memories, all those things you did together is hard to erase. The fact that you want to create a trust and wrote a letter for when he is older is pretty cool. Especially with how unhinged your soon-to-be ex is. Who knows what lies and crap she will feed his head with once you are gone. So that's a really good plan you put in place with the mother-in-law. My 26 female, husband 39 male, and I met by chance when I started working with his brother, 49 male, 2 years ago. And I say by chance because we would never have met if it weren't for my brother-in-law. The main reason is because we have different lifestyles. He grew up in a family that has been wealthy for probably centuries, and I'm the daughter of a single mother who had to work 2 jobs to feed her children. And even when I graduated from college and got a good job, I could never have been able to afford a glass of water at some of the restaurants my husband always went to. And I won't lie, that always made me feel uncomfortable. When we started dating, of course his family had their doubts about me at first, because they thought I was only with him for his money, because we got married 9 months after we started dating. But over time, they changed their mind, and now we get along well. But not all of them are like that. 2 of his aunts hate me, and are sure that I will end up taking half of his money when I ask for a divorce in a few years. That's why I hate talking about money or accepting gifts from him in front of them. I actually hate it when he gives me gifts in general. This past Saturday, we found out that we will have 2 girls, and we announced it on my birthday. And of course, I received a lot of gifts, but most of them were simple things, which I love. But my husband gave me something that I didn't like. Well, actually, I did like it, because it is really cute, but it was obviously not cheap. He gave me a customized bracelet with many charms that represent different things to us, including our 2 girls. But I was embarrassed to receive it because I don't like it when he gives me expensive things, especially in front of people who consider me a gold digger. And I didn't tell him at the time, but when everyone left, I let him know, and he said I was being ridiculous, that it's his money and that his family shouldn't care what he does with it. That he thought about this gift for weeks because all the charms were designed by him, and that he thought I was going to love it, and that it wasn't that expensive anyway. I asked him the price, and he very lightly said that it only cost $8,000, which to me is a lot of money, and I would never pay that for a bracelet. I know it's normal to receive gifts from your partner, but I feel uncomfortable when he gives me something, even if it's cheap. I don't like it, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, and for him this is stupid, because I give him things all the time, and he thinks it's unfair that he can't do the same thing even on a special day like my birthday. And he is tired of rejecting the details that he wants to have with me. But I don't know. I think that way, and I don't think I can change my mind. We even had several arguments because he spends an enormous amount of money every time he buys something for the girls, and many of those things are not necessary or essential, but he buys them anyway, and I hate that. Am I wrong for that? Well, I think OP is in the wrong, because she should not care what other people think, and enjoy the gifts, and enjoy the love her husband shows her by giving her those gifts. She should stop worrying about other people's opinion, as it's not their business what OP's husband gifts her. Also, I don't think they will change their mind if they don't see OP getting gifts from her husband. If aunties don't like her, they will continue not to. Don't you think so, guys? And now let's hear the community's opinion. Efficient Bluebird 35 says, "Yeah, you are wrong. This poor guy put a lot of thought and love into his gift for you, and you crap on him and, by extension, your relationship. Tell him thanks and you love it, and think of him and how much he must love you every time you wear it." Fine Bumblebee says, "Yes, you're wrong. Your man loves you and seems to know you well. He also seems really sweet. Don't be upset with him. A lot of men aren't able to give gifts like he does because they don't really pay attention. Don't focus on what he spent. Focus on the thought he put in." Sea Norse says, "You're wrong. You're married to him, not his crappy aunts. Stop taking it out on him." So, last year my mom married Mark, and we moved to a new state. We have a 3-bedroom house. My mom and Mark have one room. Mark's daughter Lily, 10, has her own room, and I, 13 female, share with my brothers, 16, 18, and 22. Mark doesn't want my mom to work, but he also doesn't give her money for us because that's our dad's job, so I was kinda on my own to get anything I needed. A guy at my school noticed I don't have a lunch most of the time, so he started bringing extra food for me. Then I started going to his house after school. They've been really nice to me. They take me out with them, and they got me a pair of shoes because mine were too small. They went all out for me for Christmas. I got 2 pairs of boots and another 2 pairs of shoes, 6 pairs of jeans, 4 leggings, like 20 shirts, 2 jackets, a raincoat, rain boots, umbrella, new backpack, and water bottle, and even hair stuff and some makeup. They also got me glasses, but that wasn't really a Christmas present. My mom took everything back for store credit, and she used it to get herself stuff. My friend's dad picked me up the day after Christmas to take me to camp. He signed me and my friend up for cooking camp during winter break, and I told him what happened. He called CPS, and they came to camp to talk to me a couple days later. Then they came to the house, and now I'm staying with my friend and his dad. He reordered everything he got me. Plus, he had me go into Target and some other stores to get a couple things until everything gets here. But my mom is really mad that I told him, and she's saying I got her in a lot of trouble. So I wanted to know if I was wrong for telling him that she returned everything. Always Task says, "You are not the a-hole. You are not wrong. Parents take care of kids. That's our job and our privilege to do. I'm so sorry, OP, but your mom and your stepdad were mistreating you and neglecting you. Your friend's family was able to see this, and I'm so glad they got CPS involved." Sorry Government 920 says, "Not the a-hole. How does your mom justify her 4 kids in one room while her stepdaughter gets her own room? Plus, returning your gifts and buying herself things is straight up stealing." Crystal J says, "Your mom was wrong for doing what she did. The fact that she blames you for her bad behavior is icing on the cake. She sounds like a narcissist."